Okay, so hey everybody. Today I am going to be talking about taking a mental health day from work. So today is Friday. It is the middle of the afternoon, and I went to work this morning. I didn't want to go like most of us do because we're overworked, underpaid, the nines. And so an hour into me getting into work, I had a family emergency that came up. So I emailed my supervisor, one of my supervisors, my direct supervisor, well, team lead. She was not in the office and there was no telling when she was going to get there, but I definitely was not going to wait for her to arrive so that I could leave because I'm an adult. And the department manager, she was not in her office, but once again, if I have an emergency and I have to leave, and also a part of emergency is taking care of myself, taking care of a family member. I was able to get that resolved and decided to still stay home because I really need a mental health day to just kind of absorb what's going on in my life right now. So I send an email like I've done in previous jobs, which I really very seldom take any time off, which I actually need to do more of because your mental health is more important than a paycheck. And I know in American society, that's really a hard concept to grasp in reality. It's something that we talk about, but not something that we actually do. So I emailed my supervisors and let them know that I was leaving for the day and that, I'm gone. Like, I'm not going to wait and ask for permission and have a meeting about it. Like, that's really not what I'm interested in doing because, I have to take care of myself first. You have to remember when you work for companies that are not your own that you're a dime a dozen. Like, quite honestly, they really don't care about you. You could drop dead in the middle of the department, and I'm pretty sure they would post your job up and be interviewing people the next week. That's just the reality of the situation. Um, so I am taking a mental health day after I had to take care of the family urgency. And just to find out, okay, so I'm in school. If you watch my channel, then you know I'm in school for being a mental health counselor and getting my licensure and whatnot. I'm in the master's program at this school. So, um, I emailed and said that I wasn't going to be there, but I didn't realize that apparently my school email is somehow stored in my work email. I don't know, like they had a merger where this company was bought and it's probably up for sale again. And so sometimes my email will be my work email, but it will filter to my school email, which is really bizarre because I clearly emailed from my work email. And if she had just hit reply, it would have just replied to my work email, but somehow it's tagging my school email, which is kind of weird, but RIT is a freaking joke. So whatever. And so I go because I really feel like I need to seek a counselor because there's just a lot of things going on right now. And I go to seek a counselor or look up a counselor just a little bit ago. And, I'm trying to find an African American counselor because I am an African American female. And a lot of the issues that are occurring in my life right now are centered around the lack of diversity and the inclusion of racism in the workplace and in just life in general. And for the clown that got on my video on the last one when I was talking about the suicide walk and said that there needs to be a lot of diversity in the mental health industry in order for minorities to feel like they are a part of getting help and want to seek help and feel like they're represented, and you want to talk about black on black crime, well, guess what? Go away, troll, because you get no notice here. That's why you got deleted. And if you comment again on my thing, you'll just get blocked because quite honestly, you can watch my videos, but you're not going to have spit that rhetoric underneath my comment section. You're just not like, you can go. Anyways, that's as much limelight as you're going to get. So black on black crime, like, okay, the video isn't even about that, so I'm not even going to give that any more credence. So anyways, I go and try and find a counselor in the area, and I type in, trying to seek a African American therapist. five therapists in my area that are African American, and they're females. Like, I didn't even put down like what I was searching for, what their criteria had to be. Like, literally, I just put in African American therapist, and 5 came up that were actual African Americans. The other ones listed as that they could assist with African Americans, but they were clearly not African American. And to me, in order to understand certain people in the demographic and what they go through, you really need somebody that has walked the walk and has gone through it without you having to explain every little thing, because that in and of itself is draining. And for the most part, if you're a minority or you belong to a sector of a community that is constantly discriminated against, you know how draining that can be. So I really didn't find much. So I reached out to one of my professors that I am really kind of close to, that I kind of look at as a mentor, which is new to me because I never was close to any of my professors. Like, I really couldn't name any of my professors in my undergrad program. Yeah, not one. I mean, that's just what it was. It was a business degree, and just, yeah, there just wasn't any real human interaction. So that was of relevance, in my opinion, to remember them. But so I emailed my one professor, and I just was, titled it "Just Checking In," because he had checked in on me after the hurricane in Florida not too long ago. And I figured that I would contact him and say, hey, I'm trying to find a counselor, and I'm having these issues, and I really need to find somebody in the area. Is there a diversity program in the school, an organization, or are there clinical therapists or psychologists networks nationwide for minorities, specifically African Americans? Because representation is key, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me that it's not key. I'm not going to have anybody say that, oh, trying to find somebody that is of your same demographic is racist, sexist, biased, whatever. Like, this is something that's personal. When you go to seek help, it's personal. So I'm allowed to discriminate or pick however I want, which isn't even discriminating, because if I feel like I need somebody that's going to understand me, then that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to feel sorry about it. Just like if you are a Asian person and you feel like you have a lot of things that are going on specifically related to being Asian, you most likely will seek out somebody that is of Asian descent, just like white people will seek out people that are white, even though they might say that they won't. Most likely they're going to seek out somebody that they feel is going to represent their demographic and understand them, because the nature of seeking therapy is being able to have somebody that you can talk to that is empathetic and sometimes sympathetic to your situations and, your causes or your struggles. So with that being said, I emailed him, and just, a lot of things are going on. When it comes to working, you really need to understand that you are just a number, and this job has been stressing me out so much. Like, I don't know what you guys do when you're stressed out, but my anxiety, I really need to get under control. Like, I'm an avid gum picker. Like, I pick the shit out of the side of my gum, like my teeth are changing. I have to wear my retainer again because I'm just like picking, and it's to the point where I could literally sit for hours and hours and like pick my gums until they bleed, which is a problem that I I really need to talk to somebody about, because it's anxiety. It's complete anxiety. I'm sitting in a business that doesn't care about me at all. And, to have the supervisor email me, oh yeah, she emailed me, that's what I was getting to. She emailed me on my school account. And so she said, well, I didn't get a chance to talk to you before you left. I just want to let you know that you are going to occur a 0.5 occurrence for leaving early today. Next time you need to come talk to me first. Like, okay, first of all, I'm an adult. I don't need to talk to you. Second of all, it is not within our written policy. So I don't want anybody trying to think, well, if that's your policy, it is not in our policy that I have to actually physically go talk to a supervisor in order to leave like an adult. I gave notice via email because I was sitting there just the same way I would give notice by calling the call off slash sick line if I just did not want to get out of bed and come in for the day. So saying something straight to her face, like, it wouldn't have mattered. And the mere fact that she didn't give two shits about even saying like, oh wow, I'm sorry, something's going on, I hope everything's okay, and then addressed whatever, getting an occurrence when I came back. No. Why? Because they don't care. I mean, at the end of the day, they're supposed to be humans, but they really don't care. I mean, like, they care as much as their paycheck. So, I mean, that's what you have to remember. Taking a mental health day is very important. You can't sit around and think that these companies are going to care about you. It doesn't matter how high or how low your paycheck is. It doesn't matter how many sheets of cake they give you on your birthday. It just doesn't matter. You really need to take care of yourself. I'm completely irritated that this supervisor had the audacity to email me and didn't even check, first of all, unprofessional, that it was going to my school email, which is ridiculous. Like, I really don't even understand how that happened. Quite honestly, I don't, because I think maybe I emailed myself on accident one time from my school email to my work email, trying to send it to my personal email or something, and somehow their system like cached it. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. But that just goes to show you, you are a number. It doesn't matter. Like, they will replace you in a heartbeat. You need to think about yourself. Mental health, people are getting stressed out. So, like, at my mom's previous job, because, I didn't tell you, yeah, she doesn't work there anymore. Because they're completely racist. I mean, quite honestly, if you're getting EEOC charges and then in the next couple hours you're firing somebody under the pretense of budget cuts, I mean, let's be honest, like, right. That's just a whole nother issue and another stressor in my life right now that's just ridiculous. Like, the level of racism that's happening, and I live down south, is just completely ridiculous. I'm not even surprised. I'm just not. But does that eliminate the anxiety, the upset, the anger, the depression? Not in the least. Am I excited and happy for other things in my life? Of course. But can you simultaneously be happy and excited about things in your life and at the same time be depressed about things in your life? Of course. So that's kind of the limbo life that I'm living right now. But anyways, so she's going to email me, and she gave two shits to the fucking wind what was going on with me. Excuse my language, but not really. She didn't care. And guess what? I didn't care I was leaving either, because I just really did not want to get out of bed. It was one of those days unlike any other of not wanting to get out of bed, and I probably shouldn't have gotten out of bed anyways to begin with. And plus, this company only gives you 3 hours of PTO for every 2 weeks. I mean, like, come on, I'm giving you 80 hours and you're giving me almost less than 3 hours of PTO every paycheck. So the devaluing of the American worker will never end. They only care about themselves, about their company, and great, be all for yourself. But this chick doesn't even own the company. So why you go so hard for a company that you don't even own is just beyond me. Like, and that's something I need to take for myself. Like, I have 2 small little side businesses, and I will go hard for those businesses more than I would ever go hard for a company. And I need to keep that in my forefront, because there's a lot of times where I'm using so much energy for this company that I work for, and I'm not even doing anything for my own businesses to help them flourish. So I just kind of wanted to make a video to let people know that, first of all, working for a company, you need to sometimes take mental health days. And that might even be, even if you do not have PTO, like, I barely had enough PTO to not only take this day, but I have 2 days planned in November that I have scheduled off. Hopefully I don't have to talk to her in the office about that too, because I already put in my request like months ago. But anyways, you're just a number. You are just a number. Your health is important. Your mental health is important. You need to remember that you are important. These jobs are a dime a dozen. I can count how many jobs I've had, and most of them were when, you're like in your teens or in your earlier 20s, where you're kind of like taking little retail jobs. Like, you're like, oh, I want to work here, I want to work there, I want to get a discount here, I want to get a discount there, let me try here. You're just trying to figure yourself out. But it really doesn't change. Just like in retail, just like in the food industry, just like in pretty much all these jobs. Like just because I work in corporate America now and I work for, this company, I'm not even going to say because it's just irrelevant at this point. You know, they don't care. They don't care about you. They want you to literally stress yourself out. My mom had somebody at the job that she no longer works at, actually several people come to her in full-blown panic attacks because they were so stressed out about their supervisors, the lack of respect that they were receiving, the backlash that they received in retaliation for complaining about supervisors and other employees. These are all things that happen in the workforce, no matter where you're at. I mean, pretty much probably across the world. All I can speak is for the jobs that I've worked at. Retaliation, bullying, just everything that is pretty much high school related, or as we deem high school related, happens in the workforce. Just because you're older doesn't mean that you are smarter and wiser and you don't do childish things. So just remember to take a mental health day. I basically was forced into taking a mental health day via a family emergency that occurred and that had to be dealt with, and the urgency was greater than going to tell somebody to their face that I was taking time off, and using the same exact communication I've always used. Like the one time I actually left, this is probably the third time in a year. I've been at this company almost a year now that I've actually taken off unscheduled time. Like the third time. Yeah, exactly. That just lets you know that although I'm telling you to take a mental health day, I need to be taking mental health days because I don't even schedule days off, because how can I schedule days off? I get less than 6 hours a month in PTO, which you can't even take off anytime unless you have PTO, because instead of it being called personal time off like it used to be back in the day, now it's paid time off because of their policy driven rhetoric where it's like, oh, you must have paid time to leave. No longer are there buckets of sick days and personal days and whatnot. Those days are gone. There's no such thing as separate buckets. Everything's all in one bucket, and you pretty much don't really accrue that much time unless you are in certain positions. Because the same supervisor, I've been there for almost a year, and she's taken probably a total of combined 2.5 months worth of vacations. And I'm not even over exaggerating. Like, she takes weeks at a time off, and she hasn't even been with the company that long. And I don't care what position you're at in life, you're not above anybody. And I feel like that is a part of the downfall of the American society. Like, we're devalued, we're overworked. If you look at other countries and how much they actually value their employees, like in Italy, I think I was watching something on Hulu or Netflix. I can't remember what it was called, but I know I had talked about this a while ago. And you don't give your employees a hard time when they have to take care of their family, because you should really look at your employees as not just like an extension of your family, because that's ridiculous. Nobody's going to look at employees like that. I wouldn't either. But you should value them. You should value them more than what they can do for you. Like, we're all humans. That's just it. The human element in the work world is completely gone. Like, human resources, I don't even understand why it's human resources. Have you not noticed that most of the time all you hear is it being called the acronym HR? Why? Because they don't want you to remember that there's supposed to be a human element in human resources, because some of the nastiest people in companies work in the human resources department. I don't know if you've gone to any of your human resources people, but let me just tell you, they need to go seek help too, because it's just out of control, the nastiness that happens from those departments. It's just disgusting. But I digressed. But yeah, taking the time to really seek help from somebody that you feel is going to understand what you're going through. Just like if you were a part of the LGBTQ community, you have situations that are happening in your life that are, as you know, centered around you being a part of that community, you're most likely going to seek out somebody that is within that community that actually advocates for that community and is a counselor in the community. You're not going to seek out somebody that is not in the community, really doesn't understand it, and only knows it via textbook and maybe a few interactions here and there with people from the community. You're not going to do it. So once again, representation is very important. Don't let anybody tell you differently. And you just have to make sure that at the beginning, middle, and the end of the day that you're taking care of yourself. Being a person that suffers from depression and anxiety, I mean, like, there are just things that are swirling around even in our society that is just taking a toll. You try and block out as much as you can, but then people want to come into work and talk about it. People, you're walking in the grocery store and somebody wants to start talking about something that you overhear. And it's not that you have a sensitive ear, that you're oversensitive, because I don't believe in being oversensitive to a point. I mean, you can be. That actually is a disorder. If you're severely sensitive, that is a disorder, but we're not talking about that level of sensitivity. We're talking about the fact that, as a person, you're going to have reactions and emotions to certain things. That's just the truth of the matter, and everybody knows that. Anybody that says different is, I don't know what to tell you. But I know I'm kind of rambling. I just really wanted to get this off my chest, because just having people be blatantly ignorant and rude, and, I tell you that I have a family emergency and you didn't even bother to say, like, oh, I hope everything's okay. Obviously you must have been in a rush because, you didn't stop by my office or whatnot. I mean, there was just no care. But then again, this is the same company. Okay, this is the same company that this woman's has been dropped dead in the gym, not the gym at our job, but dropped dead at a gym, and told her if she did not come back to work, they were not holding her job. Now, I understand that most companies only have 3 days of bereavement, but you also have to understand that these policies are written, and it also includes manager's discretion. So this same manager that really gave two shits to the wind about me leaving for an emergency this morning had called this lady and said, if you do not come back to work, I cannot hold your job. She had only been out for like 2 or 3 weeks, which I know for most people, they're like, well, the policy only says 3 days. Okay, but the policy, 3 days, your husband of 21 years dies. He wasn't old. She's like in her 40s, so they got married very young, apparently. And, unexpectedly, it's not like he suffered from some type of illness where this was a possibility. So just very unexpected. And they didn't care. Another lady, and this is all in the same company. I'm just giving you examples of how these companies just don't give two shits. Another person, their family member, and it was all over the news. Her daughter-in-law was murdered by her, I guess, step-grandson. Her son's son murdered his own mother. So, she had to take time off for that. And they were being nasty to her. It had even written her up because she had to take time to not only bury this lady, like this young woman, she was only in her 30s, but she also, because it was such a horrific crime. I mean, like, the son stabbed and killed his own mother and beat her with a baseball bat. I mean, it was completely devastating to hear this news, and then to find out that the person it has affected is somebody that I work with. I mean, like, it was emotional for me. I'm not gonna lie, I cried. Like, I was like just completely empathetic, because I've never experienced anything like that, and I hope to never experience anything like that. But just very, very sad situation. But this company, they don't care. They did not care. They wrote her up for taking time off because she had to go to court for a deposition, because this kid, well, he's not a kid, he's actually in his early 20s, I believe. He is in prison, like, awaiting his trial. Like, I haven't really followed the case or anything, but she's having to take time to bury her relative and also deal with the legal issues that are surrounding her death. And here you have a company writing you up saying you can't miss any more days. Like, there's no humanness happening in these companies. There is none. Another lady, her mom, yes, her mom was older. Her mom was in her 80s. You know, she was in hospice. She had actually just got moved to hospice. And, you know, this lady, she was really hoping that her mom would push through, but she knew that she wasn't. And that's a very hard thing to grasp. Like, I can't even think about the level of depression I would go through if I lost my mom. And she every day is in tears, you know. And she was back in the office the next week. Like, her mom died on Wednesday. She's back in the office on Monday. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then you want to sit here and be in somebody's face talking about productivity, get your numbers in, da 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 da. Okay, you have to understand that, yes, I understand as a company, your main goal is to make money and have employees help you do it. I get that. But when you're hiring employees, you need to understand they're humans. That's why you will, if you are somewhat of a good company, supply health benefits, because you know you're dealing with humans. If you thought you were dealing with robots the way you want to treat us, then you would not supply us with healthcare benefits. Point blank, period. That's what it is. You know you're dealing with humans. You know there's going to be a human element to everything that's involved in the working world. And that's not to say we have to be coddled and babied, because that's not what I'm saying at all. And this is not for the people that abuse taking time off. This video is not for you, because quite honestly, get up, stop being lazy and get to work and do your work when you get there. But this is for the people that don't know how to take the time off, don't really understand their true value, and think that their value is wrapped up in a company. Your value is not wrapped up in a company. Your value is wrapped up in your self-care, your self-love, your self-protection, your family, your friends, your loved ones, anybody that cares about you, the activities that you love to do. You are not your company. You are not the company you work for, and the company is not for you, basically, is what it comes down to. You can work there and do your best job, and if they think that they don't want you there because they don't like you, or something that you did they don't like, you will be fired and you will be replaced. You will be forgotten, and they're not going to care. I mean, like, you're just a dime a dozen. The same chair that you're sitting in right now, somebody was sitting in probably just days before you started sitting your behind in it. Quite honestly, the chair hasn't even gotten cold. It's still very hot when you sat in your new job, all excited to be miserable. I mean, let's be real. We get excited about jobs, and then we get there and we're like, oh my God, this is just like my other job, which is pretty much what's happening right now for me. So anyways, this video is extremely long. And, let me know what you think. Do you take mental health days? Do you take time to really think about what it is to take a mental health day? Like, are you considering one? Have you taken one? When's the last time you just taken off just because? Not even that you had a vacation schedule, but you just took off a day just because. There really should be mental health days written into corporations, because happy workers do happy work. It's true. If you're happy, then with the company that you work for, you'll be more productive. And it's not to say you're not productive as it is, but studies have shown that when workers are happy and satisfied with the company that they work at, they stay there longer, turnover is lower, and actually productivity is higher. That's just the truth of the matter. So let me know, if you take days. Let me know about if you've been seeing counselors in your area. What's the diversity look like in your area where you're at, as far as finding counselors that represent what your needs are, because it is important. And like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.